So we talked about Onion Flats. Talk about is it Passive Home?
Yeah, Passive House.
Like Passive House. Like the surge behind this and what it is to the layperson.
Surge behind it is my brother Tim McDonald and a few other very select, passionate design professionals in the world.
Okay.
Even fewer in the country, and maybe a handful in the state and in the city, including a dear friend and client, Laura Blau and Paul Thompson, partners and in life and business.
Sounds like SEAL Team 6 of real estate.
Yeah, so what it is, Passive House is, so Onion, there are all these levels of sustainability and green building, right?
Right.
And there's this thing called LEED certification, Leadership in Environmental and Energy Design, the acronym LEED.
Correct.
And it got popularized in the commercial aspect in the 90s, early 2000s, and then they transfer the commercial application to the residential market with a program called LEED for Homes. Essentially, it's like how green is your house or how green is your building, and it incorporates everything from low and no VOC caulks and paints to where did you source your materials from?
Did you source it?
Yeah, did you source it and tracked? Did you source it from South America or Asia, or did you source it from Lancaster County? Right?
Yep.
Like, so there are these regions that you get, and it's a point-based system. And one of the points is your energy efficiency, your building envelope, your insulation factor, the Energy Star rated appliances. How much energy does said building use? But of the dozen or so categories in LEED certification, energy efficiency was one, right? And it wasn't necessarily the biggest one.
Okay.
Now, we were building buildings that were very well constructed, well insulated, solar PV systems on it before LEED for Homes happened.
Really? Okay.
So when we heard about this program, I think it was like 2004, 2005, we were building these two houses in Fishtown. We called them the Twins because they were back to back. Actually, the first piece of property I ever personally bought a piece at sheriff's sale, 18 by 110 foot lot, went through a subdivision. This is Fishtown in 2002, 2003. Before I subdivided it, I tried to fix the falling down Trinity literally with no foundation under the back half of it, turn it into my house with a big fat yard in the back. It's going to be my Johnny compound.
Yeah.
But quickly threw good money after bad, and the thing was falling down. So I said, forget it, subdivided it, and built two mirror image homes. And we engaged in the LEED for Homes program, first ones in the city to do it, and it's like certified silver, gold, platinum. I think that's it. Yeah, silver, gold, platinum. And our first shot, kind of flying by the seat of our pants, we hit gold with these two buildings. And then the next project we did 9 units in Northern Liberties. A couple years later, boom, and we were the first LEED certified in the city of Philadelphia. There was one outside by some really good developers in Bucks or Montgomery County. Next project we did 9 units in Northern Liberties, got a little bit more skilled at it, boom, hit platinum. And as we're looking at the next projects, we're like, you know what, LEED addresses a lot of things, but still, it doesn't address ultimately the critical part of global warming. And it's how much energy do buildings use? So my brother Tim dug deep, found this Passive Haus, German technology, and the Germans, are there any better engineers? I don't know. But the Germans stole it from some hippies in Colorado back in the 70s, because hippies in Colorado were like burning wood and trying to keep warm, right? And ultimately what it is it's taking a building envelope, and if you condition it and seal it and make it basically airtight, if you light a match, you should be able to heat the building. Because theoretically,
right.
because or the occupant's body heat, if it's an insulated space correctly, our body heat and a hoodie shouldn't require much more heat than that in any kind of temperate condition, right? Same thing goes for cooling. So if you're using a mechanical system, because we do, to heat a space to a tempered condition, and it doesn't seep out the windows and the doors of shitty construction with no insulation,
Right.
then you don't have to continue running the furnace or the air conditioning to keep the space conditioned. You do it once, and it stays, right? So that was an aha moment for my brother Tim, and he just took us down this path.
Wow.
And then it's like, if you and to hit this Passive House certification, you need to reduce your energy loads by a minimum of 90% over a code-built building, right? So building code is essentially designed to let natural air flow through it, because if you don't have natural airflow, then what do you get? You get mold, you get stagnant space, right? So building code relies on crappy construction techniques to let fresh air, old air out and fresh air in. Passive House says no, seal it tight, and we'll put a mechanical lung in it to circulate the air in a controlled environment through a HEPA filter to also take all the bad stuff out of the air as it's coming in. So with all that being said, we started building this, digging deep on a building science and figuring out how to make an airtight building with this mechanical air exchange, right? Mm-hmm. And you get it down to a 90% savings, and you're at Passive House. But not for my brother and our other brother from another mother, Howard, our fourth Onion Flats partner. They wanted to go deeper, and they didn't want it to just be Passive House. They wanted it to be net zero, which means now we got to make up 10% of the energy usage. How do you do that? Well, with renewables, solar panels, right? That's one of the ways you do it. You put PV on it because the sun's out, even on a cloudy day, there's still solar gain coming through, and if you can put a system in, that maybe gaps it that last 10% to get it to net zero. And then that's still not good enough for my brothers.
Right.
So what on our last project, geothermal. Dug two 1,500 foot deep wells to generate all the heating and cooling out of the earth. And now we're 2 years into a 25 unit project we finished in Northern Liberties, and we're coming back at net positive on it. The 25 apartments, the energy usage for the 25 apartments are being produced. We're not off grid because we're in the urban built environment, so there's no reason to be off grid. Mm-hmm. We're tied into sewer, we're tied into public water, we're tied into electric. But the energy draws are higher in the winter from the public system, but in the summer, the renewables that we're generating are putting out more energy than the building requires, and we're getting to the place of net zero, maybe even a tad above positive energy production. And that was 2 years ago. Now we're finishing 28 units in Norris Square, and just broke ground on 88 new ones, basically a half a block away, and we're doubling down on it. Because we believe that, we don't believe, we know for a fact that the biggest polluter of the environment are buildings.
Right.
Both old buildings, but especially new buildings that are being built to the base level code standard,
Well, that's why. All right. So
that's Passive House in a nutshell as it relates to our life.
That's a huge nutshell.
It's a huge nutshell.
I was exploding with knowledge. So, how does when you're wearing this brand and you're showing a new construction, how does that side of your mind shuttle off? Yeah. And this isn't platinum, this is plastic.
Yeah.
It's like, how do you?
Well, so great question, because it's a bit of an internal conflict, but the truth of the matter is, the platinum, the Onion Flat stuff, we're a teeny tiny builder. So it's not like we have a ton of product on the market. So I represent a lot of developers,
right,
much larger than us, but we're not really in competition with them, right? So if somebody comes to me and says, and it's happened, Johnny, we want to buy an Onion house, or we want to buy, because we're not the only ones in the city doing it.
Right.
It's a small collective, and I think there's probably at the scale, at this teeny scale, we're probably doing the majority of them.
What publicity are you getting for platinum and the work you're doing?
we're really crappy at that. Back to the point, we kind of play in our own
Not you.
sandbox.
I mean, you don't need to.
Oh, international.
The public should be picking up what you're doing in the city.
So again, architects who are developers, architects first, who are developers and builders, and as a result, realtors.
I got it.
Right.
Okay.
So that's kind of the lineage of our deal. Now, my real estate thing is kind of an offshoot of it, but it's the lineage. I have like a little mustache hair tickling the heck out of my nose.
Like next year, we're close enough. I'll rip it out. Okay, I'll go get in there for you.
So I've had clients out of the blue call and say, hey, we want to buy an onion house. Hey, we're moving to Philly and we know that you're the sustainability guy. Find us a house. Cool. I'll dig in and do it.
Well, that's pretty impressive. Then your brand, it's carrying out.
Yeah, but kind of passively. Right? It's not like I'm marketing myself as the green realtor. Although I have an eco broker certification, and that means I've done a lot of training.
Passive. That's the branding. Passive. That was passive
marketing.
Passive
Kinda.
everything, right?
Kinda. This is why we love H-Town. Hey, Marge.
You can.
Of course. I said.
Hi, ladies.
Hi.
Welcome to McGillicuddy.
Oh, in the middle of the day. I love it. Day drinking.
Oh, don't
We're
let them know
working.
that. It's nighttime.
We're working.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
all right. As long as you're
Yeah, there's a dark backdrop out there. We didn't start with a coffee.
So I'll get those calls, and we did start with coffee.
No, we did.
So I'll get those calls, and I'll show them, and I'll find them a place. There's another great developer, Longacre Property Management, and LPMG is who they are in the Newbold section. Kind of that company has really taken on that pocket of Newbold, West Passyunk, Point Breeze. Kind of like Onion has taken on the northern end of Liberty's Fishtown, Kensington,
Yep.
right? And he called me, John Longacre, the principal of that company, and he's like, hey, I'm building these LEED certified houses. I'm not sure if you're competition or not, but I want to meet you for a beer and talk about it.
Yep.
And we ended up vibing, and we're not competition. I call it co-opetition is what I call it. We're here to build a little bigger pie, and if we have a bigger pie of the sustainability and the real estate in our teeny little market, then we can all afford a smaller slice, right?
Right.
And the point is, we're doing good out there, and if we all keep doing good, then financially we'll end up doing well.
Yeah.
So do good, then do well. That's one of our mantras.